Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Yokohama tires. Go to TireRack.com to see their Yokohama test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. If one only remembers to turn on the light.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
The ones that love us never really leave us.
Working hard is important, but there's something that matters: believing in yourself. If they can do it, why not us?
Hey everyone, welcome to Hogwarts, a podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hogwarts, a podcast. Today we're covering Act 1, Scenes 16 through 19, which is the end of Act 1.
Yay!
Elizabeth is with us again.
Hi everyone.
We are wrapping up Act 1, so it'll be interesting to see where they leave it for our little intermission here. Before we get into the actual scenes, I do want to shout out Sandhya, who left a comment on Cursed Child, Act 1, Scenes 5 through 7. Sandhya says, I can imagine how Albus might feel resentful to Harry. He could have been just another boy in Slytherin if his dad was a nobody. Poor kid. By the way, hope all is well at your end, Dan. I was looking for a new episode drop as usual and didn't find it. Take care.
Aw, so considerate.
Yeah, thank you. I am doing okay. I've just been doing a lot of traveling this summer.
Yeah.
And we have adjusted the schedule a bit. So we're going to try to put out 2 episodes a month is the goal.
Yeah, once every 2 weeks, basically.
About once every 2 weeks, yes. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's a little change in when these episodes drop. But I am doing just fine. I have been traveling a lot. I've been in Toronto. Beautiful city.
Uh-huh.
I was just in California, in LA and Anaheim. And as we're recording this, we're actually in the great North Woods of Wisconsin up by Lake Superior. So, a lot of traveling going on, which I personally love. And I've in my travels, seen a lot of Harry Potter fans. I can't tell you how many Harry Potter shirts.
Yeah. You've walked past several people and been like, oh, if only I was wearing my podcast shirt.
We've walked past many a person and just been like, hey, that's a really cool shirt. I saw one cast member in Disneyland in Anaheim have a Dark Mark tattoo on his left arm.
Oh, interesting.
So I just pointed out, I'm like, hey, I respect the tattoo. I know what that is.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody we've run into is very, very kind. So it's been cool to kind of travel around and still talk some Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But yes, we are still trying to pump these out on a semi-regular schedule if we can. So thank you, Sandhya, for that. We have documented our feelings on Albus and Harry a tremendous amount, I think.
I do agree, though. If it was any other kid just being in Slytherin, it'd be like, cool, congratulations, you're in Slytherin.
100%.
There's a lot of cool people in Slytherin, both in the books and in real world. And then, yeah, just having the reputation of Harry Potter as your father, really.
It looms large.
It does. It really does.
So it's like taking Harry's fame that he had when he was in school, multiplying it by like 100, and then put all on you and your shoulders. It's a lot.
And at that age, you always feel like all eyes are on you anyway.
Always. Even when they're absolutely not on you,
yeah.
You still feel
You feel
that.
it on you. Yeah.
For sure. So, today, we are going to start with Act 1, Scene 16, and we are in a place called the Whitehall Cellar. This scene features Scorpius, Albus, Delphi, all debating Polyjuice Potion.
Mm-hmm.
So Albus explains the general plan, which is to disguise themselves and enter the Ministry of Magic. Scorpius now has 2 questions. First question. Is the use of Polyjuice Potion painful? To which Delphi replies, yes, very. Cool, matter-of-fact answer, like it. And then his second question is, what is the taste? I've heard it's like fish. And Delphi responds, it doesn't taste like fish, as she's taking the potion, by the way.
She's
already getting to the next part of this story. So she's taken her Polyjuice Potion and says, it doesn't really taste like fish. And as she downs the potion, she begins to turn into Hermione. And then after she turns into Hermione, she goes, there is kind of a weird fishy aftertaste here that kind of lingers. So let's pause there and talk about this Polyjuice Potion.
It's a different... If we're going to go with the whole, this is a different kind of Harry Potter, like a tangent one, like, I could buy this. This is the whole, like, fishy aftertaste and stuff. They also burp a lot when they drink it. Like, it's totally played up as a comedic thing for the audience.
It's a really cool thing, how they do the Polyjuice Potion.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really cool transformation process, because I remember sitting in the seat being like, how are they going to pull this off?
I do remember being very impressed with their use of lighting, because it was like the darkness of the back of the stage pressed forward, and I imagined, I was trying to figure out as like a director kind of perspective, like how did they do this, because the magic is really cool. I imagined that the actors of Hermione, and it's later revealed the rest of the Golden Trio, I think they like come forward and they kind of like
all shrouded in darkness.
It's like Delphi, Scorpius, and Albus in their robes kind of like shrink down. And I don't know if there's a trap door that they go into and they're able to come up through the same robes, or if it's like a quick transfer over somehow in the darkness. But the use of the darkness is really effective. I don't think you'd really see it unless you were maybe in the first row.
It was quite a scene to witness, and obviously you were quite impressed. I was also quite impressed.
It was also so fast. You know, they had to practice it so much to make it seem seamless. So it was really, really cool.
Lighting,
magic.
Staging, and the timing all had to be on point, and at least for our production, it was.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Now, let's talk about this fishy residue thing. Obviously, the way we've kind of come accustomed to Polyjuice Potion is the taste or the makeup of the Polyjuice Potion itself somewhat depends on the person that you're copying.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we remember when they all turned into Harry, they were like, oh, Harry, you taste good. And he's like, thanks.
Right, exactly. So that's what we've come to know. Mm-hmm. This is obviously a little different take on it. I mean, I guess Scorpius, being the good student that he is, never really dabbled in such kind of student malpractice, like Hermione, oddly. So he doesn't have any experience with it. And, you know, he can be a little pliable, a little gullible, and he can buy maybe some older student just being like, oh yeah, it's this, or it tastes like this. So I could see his, like, I've heard it tastes like this, and completely naive.
Oh yeah.
Delphi, however, somewhat confirming, like, you know what, this actually does have a fishy residue afterwards. It's an interesting little detail.
It almost makes it seem like, ooh, this is a fishy situation because there's a fishy aftertaste. I have a thought, though, that I am curious about your take on. So we know Polyjuice Potion is, like you said, it's supposed to taste like the person that you're turning into, and we've seen that the quality of the person depends on, like what the flavor of the Polyjuice Potion is going to turn out to be. Do you think, like, your Polyjuice Potion flavor stays the same your whole life, or it could become, like, more disgusting as you age based on the actions that you take?
I think if you get into the real magic of Polyjuice Potion, it might be one of those things that changes throughout your life. Mm-hmm. And it reflects who you are, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well.
It's like your moral character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which can be flexible at times. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think maybe the magic to Polyjuice Potion is maybe a little bit deeper than skin deep.
Yeah.
And that's really fascinating, and that's a cool idea to bring into it. I wonder, though, with Hermione. Mm-hmm. It seems odd, the whole fish thing, right? I wonder if this is just a fluke coincidence. And here's why. Because if we remember, her Patronus, I believe, is an otter.
Yeah. Which
is an aquatic-based animal. So I'm just wondering if it's like, you know, it's clearly a joke here. Scorpius is being a little, like, naive and whatever, joking around, and Delphi is probably doing the same, being like, hey, you know what, it kind of does maybe taste like this.
They all kind of act like it tastes fishy.
So
the aftertaste.
I wonder if this is just, maybe it is reflective of what a Hermione Polyjuice might actually taste like, and they just hit the nail on the head here.
Or maybe, too, another option could be that Delphi was not as skilled as Hermione with brewing Polyjuice Potion.
Did she just, like, feel a little frisky with it and is like, I'm going to add an anchovy? Like, boom.
Extra spice.
Yeah.
That, or I wonder if the potion has been made for so long that it's starting to go bad. Because, I mean, I don't know why she would have Polyjuice Potion just ready to go.
Well, if we do remember, McGonagall, when she was bringing up her concerns to Harry and Hermione, did mention some ingredients had disappeared over the summer.
Ingredients that can be used in Polyjuice Potion.
And there were ingredients that could be used in Polyjuice Potion.
Questionable. Maybe we have another suspect other than Peeves. Everyone always blames Peeves.
So, Albus and Scorpius end up trying to take the potion together. Because Scorpius is like, hey, look, we're in this together now, so we're going to do it together.
You forced me off the train.
Yep. Albus turns into Ron, and Scorpius turns into Harry. Albus looks at himself and is like, this is going to be weird. Scorpius looks at Albus/Ron and says very sternly, go to your room. You've been a bad son.
I did enjoy him doing that. That's such a natural thing to do. Like, I am your father. You listen to me.
It'd be a fun thing to do if it didn't hit an undertone of, ooh. You know, especially with the, like, you're a bad son kind of thing at the end.
It's a shame they haven't seen Star Wars, because it could be like, Albus, I am your father.
So, they ultimately emerge from the room that they've done this in, which, again, is the Whitehall cellar. And they enter a familiar telephone box and dial the number 62442. The box then welcomes the Golden Trio.
So, I have some thoughts about this whole Polyjuice Potion thing. Two main big ones. My first is, I'm not entirely sure why it was chosen for Albus to become Ron and Scorpius to become Harry. I think it could have been really cool for Albus to become Harry. I mean, one, because he would know the most about him, so he'd be really good at playing up the disguise, you know, like he could do his mannerisms and he would know what feels natural for Harry to say. I do think it could have been a cool learning experience. We had talked before when we first learned about Polyjuice Potion how while there are so many bad uses of it that could go wrong, it would be really cool to look from someone else's perspective and see in their shoes and legitimately like live their experience to better understand them. And I think with the turmoil we've seen so far between Harry and Albus, it would have been kind of cool to have Albus be like, you know, this is what my dad thinks and feels, and it gets treated like all the time, and I never knew. Could have been cool.
We'll get into how this Polyjuice Potion ultimately plays out. Mm-hmm. But I think Albus would not want to be his father for a couple of reasons.
I mean, I'm sure it feels really weird to be like, I've become my parent.
Just generally, doing someone you know that well or a parent is awkward in general. Mm-hmm. But coming right off of the encounters that they just recently had, he probably feels even worse about, like, get my dad as far away from me as possible.
So he gets to be Uncle Ron instead.
Yes.
The other thing I thought was interesting was it seemed like the telephone booth for the Ministry of Magic, like, it didn't detect the Polyjuice Potion. And I just find that interesting because I would think that knowing the Golden Trio snuck into the Ministry under Polyjuice Potion and succeeded, I would think that Hermione, as Minister of Magic, would be like, that's kind of a flaw in our system, a security flaw. We should probably fix that and, like, maybe do, like, how Gringotts had the Thief's Downfall, the waterfall that washed away, all the disguises.
Yeah.
Like, if they kept the toilets that they had to flush themselves into, like, maybe those could be charmed to get rid of any...
I was going to say, maybe that's the bigger security flaw. Like, the Death Eater regime used it as a way of demeaning those coming into the Ministry.
Yeah.
I don't think they did it for security reasons.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But I'm a little surprised that it didn't get changed, because I would think that knowing what they had to go through, that it'd be like, yeah, we were 17 years old and we were able to get past this. Seems a little problematic for the Ministry to be broken into so easily.
No, I hear you. I think in her circumstance, and I don't know how Kingsley, because you can bring this back to Kingsley then, how did Kingsley not address some of these possible security concerns?
Because you would think, like, I'm assuming they talked to people afterwards and they were like, this is how we defeated Voldemort, and went through the whole plan.
Maybe they reveal their infiltration of the Ministry and how they did. I mean, obviously everybody knows they infiltrated the Ministry. It's just how they did it.
Right.
Maybe they tell that story. Maybe they don't. Maybe they fudge it. Maybe they do something different. But I think with Hermione, they're in a period of peace right now. Mm-hmm. Not to say that they don't have issues. Mm-hmm. So I think her focus is on helping the wizarding world the best that she can. And in a period of peace, she's not necessarily thinking of
military strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not her job right now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if things changed, sure, she would probably put in some security protocols. But I don't know. I don't think it's the top of her mind right now.
It is funny to think of Albus doing the exact same thing that Harry did, though, of being under Polyjuice Potion and sneaking into the Ministry.
Except,
like father, like son, except he's not his son. Now he's Ron.
There's another big difference. It's instead of Mephelda Hopkirk, Reg Cattermole, and Albert Runcorn, now you have Harry Potter, the head of magical law enforcement, Hermione Granger, who's the Minister for Magic, and her husband, who's Ron Weasley, who everybody knows.
Right.
These are three entirely different people to try to take on their identity.
And you would think that they've already checked in for work for the day, so you'd think the phone would be like, hey, you're already here.
That's a fair point. Maybe because Harry and Hermione are so high-ranking, maybe they don't use the telephone box. Maybe they have some separate...
powder.
To your point, maybe a higher level of access to their own offices where they just either show up there, flu powder, apparition, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe there was just too much to clean up for them to really work on the security protocols of the Ministry of Magic.
I think in this period of peace, they probably have some other things going on. But, speaking of the Ministry of Magic, we transition now to Act 1, Scene 17, and we are at the Ministry of Magic in a meeting room. In that meeting room is Harry, Hermione, Ginny, and Draco, and they're all pacing around the room. Hermione starts this off with noting that the Trolley Witch is furious. And specifically is upset with letting down Adeline Gamble. And I just imagine, because Draco initially asked, like, how did the Trolley Witch let this happen? So now as adults, are they just fully aware that the Trolley Witch is like this entity now?
I don't know, but I also just like the fact that they just refer to her as Trolley Witch as opposed to an actual name.
Well, no one's ever asked her name.
I know, and it's funny to me because I would think that as the adults they'd at least know the name. Like kids don't really pay attention. They're just like, you don't
think Hermione with her ministry resources couldn't look up the history books and figure out where
she could totally research what this whole hiring process was. But yeah, they all just are like, Trolley Witch.
She notes that she's also notified the Muggle Prime Minister, which I personally find is a little bit ridiculous. Like, you're notifying the Muggle Prime Minister who has his own load of real work, and you're being like, not, hey, Voldemort's returned. Hey, we have this uber dark wizard that's on the loose and he's murdering a bunch of people. Hey, we have some weird disappearances, blah, 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 blah. None of that. Just, hey, these 2 kids are missing, so, like, help us?
That was my initial reaction, too. Because, yeah, the Muggle Prime Minister Hermione just said, yeah, they filed a missing persons report, essentially. That's all they can do. I wonder if it was more of a, hey, you might see some, like, weird magic, underage magic popping up, and we don't know what they're capable of or what their goal is. So just in case you see some, like, I don't know, some massive catastrophe that seems magical, we'll take care of it, don't you worry, but help us out. That, or maybe because Harry's aware of the last conversation that he had with Albus, and we know Albus feels so outcasted from the magical world that they just assume they want to go off and be Muggles, which is,
I suppose that's plausible.
You know, it's just an odd thing.
Either way,
it's an extreme reaction. I'll definitely give you that.
Like, how do you have that conversation? Like, hey, these 2 kids are missing. Just be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Like, if I was the Muggle Prime Minister, I'd be like, lady, I have a lot of problems that I got to deal with.
Especially because it's not like a Muggle kidnapped them from the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
You know, the trolley which would be able to be witness and say they jumped off.
Hermione also notes that she has Aurors investigating anyone with dark magic ties. Draco is a little offended by this and says that, hey, look, this is not Death Eater related. And Hermione's like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Like, we can't just jump to not Death Eater related.
To be fair, she has to leave all the options open as Prime Minister.
Draco says that they would not go after my son. I'm still a Malfoy. My name still means something. They're not going after my son. That'd be a mistake.
He did say how, like, Scorpius is a follower, not a leader. And he's like, I don't know where this came from, why he didn't more follow in my footsteps. But, yeah, that no dark magic user would dare come after my son.
Yeah, he did note that Scorpius is a follower. Therefore, Albus was definitely the one that led this.
Yeah.
And you're right. He does have that line when he's saying that about, I don't know where he got that from. Despite my best efforts, he's become a follower. Which is an interesting note from Draco.
It is also an interesting thought because it's like, yeah, Draco was not a follower. He was a leader of his little gang. Lucius was not a follower. Narcissa was not a follower of Voldemort,
yes
sure.
And no.
But he was more...
No, you're right.
He was more assertive than Scorpius is.
Lucius, I guess, had more ambition than most of the other Death Eaters to rise to the top of those ranks.
Yeah.
But while that's going on, Ginny keeps giving Harry looks. And in the notes, it said, like, with her clearly wanting Harry to say something. Mm-hmm. Ginny finally speaks up and says, Harry, you know what they've done. They've run away. She agrees with Draco in that Death Eaters kidnapping a Potter makes sense. Mm-hmm. Death Eaters kidnapping a Malfoy, less likely. Mm-hmm. So she agrees with Draco. Ginny says they've run away. That's the real issue. And Draco looks from Ginny to Harry and is like, what aren't you telling me? There's something that's left unsaid here, and I want to know. And Harry admits to having an argument with Albus. Furthermore, he admits that he said that there were times I wish he weren't my son.
Which, pausing on that, what a thing to have to admit to...
Your greatest rival?
Your greatest rival, yeah. and your friends, too, who are right there, and just be like, yeah, I failed really badly as a father. That's a question.
Who would you rather tell that secret to? your school rival or one of your best friends?
It's
Who
hard.
would you least like to tell that to?
It's hard because you tell it to your rival and they're gonna flat out tell you, like, you messed up, which you already know, so it just adds on to that guilt. I think your best friends would probably try to be like, well, that was bad, but I think you can come back from it, and here's what we're gonna do.
It's a hard question, because Draco could use that information against him if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah, easily.
But Hermione probably views Harry, or at least Harry's view of how Hermione views him, put it that way, is probably high.
Yeah.
And when he says that out loud, that could be a blemish a little bit. Mm-hmm. And now every time she looks at Harry, you could almost see it in her eyes, that acknowledgement.
It's or at that least, shame that you feel like, I messed up, I know I messed up, or other people know I messed up.
Or Harry could perceive that in her. Even if she doesn't actually feel that, Harry could perceive that.
I think the closest we saw him to this kind of emotion of deep, like, shame and regret was probably when he attacked Draco. You know, with the Sectum Sempra.
Maybe. My thought actually went to endangering others at the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah, that too.
When he screwed up.
Yeah.
He made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it endangered a lot of people's lives. And he felt bad about that. He was like, I can't believe I put everybody in danger for me. So, yeah. I mean, both fair examples.
Again, and then it shows, like, you know, even adults screw up.
Sure.
As parents, I know neither of us are parents, but I always hear my parents say how they weren't given a handbook. They did the best that they could, and they made mistakes along the way, and that's just being human.
Draco doesn't take this well, though. He takes a rather threatening step towards Harry and says, if anything happens to Scorpius... Ginny then steps between Harry and Draco, noting that she also has a person in this, and she also has some feelings about it. And then Draco ends up offering money, resources, whatever the Malfoy name still has left, to find his only family. It's actually kind of an emotional statement from Draco.
Yeah.
Where he kind of, like, lets you in for a little bit.
And it hits extra hard knowing that 5 seconds ago he was like, you know, I don't know where he became this follower from, but he's still my family. Like, even if I might have a little bit of disappointment that he's a little more easily bended or like mendable to somebody else's will, he's a Malfoy. He's my son.
He starts it off with a very Malfoy thing to say, which is, he's my only heir.
Yeah. Which
is a Malfoy thing. That's a pure blood thing. That's a Voldy thing. But then he comes right back in with, he's my only family I have left.
Right.
So, by that, I am assuming Narcissa and Lucius are both not in the picture anymore. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Astoria has passed away. So his mother, father, and wife are all presumably out of the picture. Mm-hmm. We know his wife is, because he said it. Mm-hmm. So he's acknowledging that this cuts deeper than maybe his bravado might lead you to believe. He exits, but as he exits the scene, he looks to Harry and says, "You have been a constant curse on my family, Harry Potter."
Which, if we unpack this a little bit, I could obviously see him meaning this as, I hated dealing with you in school, you were my rival, you were always there, I felt like everyone talked about you, and to a degree I felt jealous of you, even though I won't admit it. And because of you and Voldemort, my parents suffered and, you know, got stuck in Azkaban, the reputation's ruined, all that fun stuff. And then now it's, you know, my son being involved with your son, like, that is now cursing me. But it also feels like a total denial of his own family's actions and consequences and stuff. And I get that he's an upset father and you know, worried about his son. But I'm like, is he a curse on your family, though? Is he?
You could make an argument that, I mean, everything stems from Harry Potter. And a lot of Voldemort's goals, aspirations, a lot of what he made his family do, the Malfoy family do, was in the overarching goal of eliminating Harry Potter.
At least once he learned the prophecy part.
So probably from the get-go, all Draco probably knew was Harry Potter. I think and let's be real, he had the unfortunate luck of being in the same exact year as Harry. He couldn't have been born a year earlier or a year later.
Yeah.
His son happens to be in the same year that Harry's son is, so he can't escape him there either. He's always there. And to your point about school, Harry's always there, and he does get that shine. We talked about it before, about how Draco might be jealous, but mostly, I think, because he views himself, at the very least, equal to Harry. It's for a lot of other reasons that Harry gets put higher. And again, now in their adult life, I think it's the same thing. Draco views himself as an equal. The world does not. But that's how he exits the scene, and that's how we exit scene 17.
I am a little surprised, though, one final thing. He said, Harry Potter, you've been a curse in my family. What an opportunity for Draco to just been like, Potter, one final time.
Harry Potter. Yes.
Just Potter,
Well, on that note, we will take a small break here, and we will come back with Act 1, Scene 18 after this short break. Before we get to our break sound, I'd like to acknowledge our friend Andy, who helps us produce our intros and our break sounds. If you want to hear more of Andy's work and like Formula One racing, check out the Outlap F1 podcast. It's your one-stop shop for Formula One news, insights, race previews, and reviews. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, and they even have a YouTube page. So check out Andy, Cody, John, James, and Deanna, and join them on the Outlap.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
All right, we are back with part 2 of this episode, and we are covering Act 1, Scene 18, which takes place in the Ministry of Magic, in just a random corridor at the Ministry of Magic. We see Scorpius, Albus, and Delphi discussing how to break into Hermione's office to find the Time Turner. And they know that it might be in Hermione's office because apparently Delphi has some evidence that is based on some Veritaserum influence.
Yeah, she said that a ministry of worker had come over and Amos had decided to use Veritaserum on him to learn about the existence of the Time Turner. Which, question, didn't the Time Turner just only get discovered, like, a few days ago?
Yeah, I mean, within the week.
Yeah. It just seems a little interesting time-wise. We know that Amos talked to Harry back in scene 6, and that was the night before the Hogwarts Express needed to leave. And then it seemed like the next day, Albus and Scorpius got off the train, went to go see Amos, which was scene 13 and 14. So it'd be like super tight timing for Amos to discover the existence of the Time Turner, I guess.
We just said in part 1 of this episode that ingredients from the Hogwarts stores have gone missing over the summer. Mm-hmm. If you connect potential dots, which admittedly are fairly random, I suppose, but you can assume that maybe this plot has been brewing for a while. Huh? No? Okay. The timing is a little sketchy. I think it's maybe indicative of a longer, more intricate plan than we might be aware of right now.
Yeah.
Because it does seem a little off on the timing.
That's interesting.
So, as they're debating how to break into Hermione's office, there's a guard that walks by. And I love this, because a guard walks by them, and they're all like, act cool, guys, act cool. And they're like, yeah, ministry stuff. Yeah, cool. That sounds good.
I love working at the ministry as the minister of magic.
It comes off...
Me too!
as kids trying to have what they think is an adult conversation.
And failing epically.
And failing epically at it.
Yeah,
but it's funny. It's a funny moment.
It is funny. I also do like this idea of Albus having a Harry-like adventure, and Harry also technically being involved in this adventure, but completely unaware of it. You know?
Unaware that he's involved in the adventure.
Yeah, he's involved in the adventure, but he's just the unknowing bystander this time. It's kind of funny.
So that conversation, Hermione and Harry are down the corridor, and they're having their own actual adult conversation. Because Hermione is...
An adult?
Hermione's asking Harry, hey, should we talk about, like, this argument that you had? Mm-hmm. Like, should we talk about this? And Harry completely rebukes this effort. Just completely shuts her down. But Hermione continues, and Scorpius and Delphi end up ducking into Hermione's office after Scorpius uses the incredibly complicated spell Alohomora.
Again, I'm a little surprised that Hermione's office is so easily broken into.
We can get into her security defenses here in a little bit.
Okay.
But Albus, as Ron, gets left outside of Hermione's office to distract.
I like at first Scorpius being like, I don't know how to distract them, and the other two being like, we can't do it, we are them. Like, it's not gonna work.
There's only one option here, and it's non-negotiable. So, Albus, aka Ron, greets Harry and Hermione, and in doing so, kisses Hermione firmly. So, let's just get this out of the way now.
Yeah, remind the audience who that is to him.
So, Hermione is Albus Severus's aunt. That being said, not a blood-related relative.
That being said, still super weird.
Yes. It is still very awkward, very weird. But I will give Albus this. You are playing a role as Ron. Mm-hmm. Things can happen there.
Especially because it's not like a peck on the cheek. It is like a passionate kiss.
Yeah, he maybe goes a little hard.
He goes, it's like, whoa, hi, Ron.
I mean, like, if you're a spy, mm-hmm. you have to play your part.
You do.
And you have to be convincing. And if your husband just completely blows you off, might be a little weird. Especially one who's Ron. Ron is relatively extroverted, flamboyant.
Enthusiastic.
He's wears his heart on his sleeve kind of guy. So, I mean, yeah, you gotta sell it. It's just unfortunate that this is awkward.
Yeah. It does play for laughs for the audience because you can almost see, well, it's the actor for Ron, but you see Ron, like, panicking and being like, what do I do? What do I do? I'll kiss you. And it's just like, whoa, okay, that's not what we were planning on.
He does, however, pick up on what the real Hermione and Harry were discussing about the argument that he had with his father, Harry. Mm-hmm. Hermione says to Harry that, look, Albus knows that we all say stuff we don't mean. He knows that. And Albus says, yeah, but what if sometimes we do say stuff that we mean? And Hermione immediately, like, shoots him down, like,
Ron, now is not the time.
Now is not the time.
One thing about this, again, with the whole, like, I thought maybe Harry should be, or Albus should be Harry. I feel like this is another case where maybe Scorpius should have been Ron, because it seems like the only benefit to the scene of Albus being Ron is that he overhears Harry and Hermione talking about the conversation that they had. But I feel like if Scorpius had been Ron, he could have kissed Hermione without it being super, super awkward to the audience. And then he could have also talked to Albus about it and been like, hey, I heard your dad say this about you. Why didn't you tell me that you guys had that fight? And you would still basically accomplish the same thing that they're trying to accomplish here.
I like that Albus is in this situation, and I like that he overheard Hermione and Harry discussing it, because they're talking about it, which means there's concern there. Mm-hmm. He chirps in with his 2 cents on the topic. His 2 cents, not what Ron might or might not say.
Right, it's Albus's 2 cents.
Right, he chips in with his thoughts, and Hermione immediately shouts him down on that. Mm-hmm. Harry, I think if he's paying attention to body language or to emotions of Harry's not exactly thrilled at this right now. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't imagine Harry's walking the halls super confident and
like,
happy.
I just had a fight with my son. No, right. he's upset.
I would imagine he looks visibly upset.
Yeah.
So, cues that I don't know Albus is going to pick up on given the situation and the stress and anxiety he's under at the moment.
And also given how he's been this whole play.
But I like that it's Albus that's in this situation and being thrown different conversations and different emotional reactions that he's going to have. Mm-hmm. Whether he even picks up on them or not, I like that it's him. Hermione does move to actually go into her office.
This is where Albus just, like, full-blown panics.
Yep.
That's so awkward.
So Albus physically blocks the door to her office.
They do like a whole dance kind of thing. Like,
yeah, he
move
keeps,
to one side, move to the other side, block you.
He keeps shifting to ensure that she can't get past him through the door, and blocks her again with another kiss. He also, and this is, I don't know what this is. This is pure panic mode.
It reads very much like a Scorpius line to me, but it's just such, yeah, you're right. It's such pure panic of, what do adults talk about? What do husbands and wives talk about? And then he comes up with this.
So Albus has a pure panic mode as he's trying to block Hermione here. And he blurts out, I want to have another baby. Then there's a pause, because there should be a pause after dropping that. And then he continues with, or let's go on a holiday. We can just go on vacation, right? And then he ends up blocking her once again with another kiss.
It's kind of like, or we can do both. Like, I don't know.
This is the only explanation for this is pure panic, which I don't blame him for, by the way. This is way beyond what he had signed up for. Yes. And I get that this is all his idea. But this is like...
That, and I think it's just a child's version of what adults, especially married adults, talk about. Like, right. Babies in vacation and work, but we're at work, so we're probably not talking about work, so... Yeah!
So
kiss.
Hermione, at different points, like, exits the scene and comes back into the scene. And each time she exits and comes back, she's like, really? A baby or a vacation?
Well, first she's like, okay, if you put another stink pellet in my office, I'm going to murder you. Good thing, lucky you, that I have other things to do right now, so I'll come back later. But then, yeah, you're right. She comes back and she's like... kind of flirting, teasing, and be like, another baby and a holiday? Really, Ron? She also made the comment that she can taste fish, which tells us as audience with context clues. It was quite the kiss that they had there.
You can make that connection, yes.
Jeez. To be fair, it plays very funny on the stage.
It is. It is a very humorous moment. Funny because moment. Each time she leaves the scene, he goes to open the door, and then she comes right back in.
Yeah.
Eventually...
Just the panic in his voice of like, let's have a baby! And it's like, what?
Eventually, Hermione does ultimately leave the scene, and Albus enters the office. Mm-hmm. And that is where Act 1, Scene 18 ends. So we begin Act 1, Scene 19, which is the last scene of Act number 1. And Scene 19 takes place in the Ministry of Magic, Hermione's office. And Albus immediately starts off as he enters the room going, "This is weird."
They obviously overheard everything that just happened in the hallway.
Delphi is like, "I thought you were really impressive, actually." Scorpius says, "I don't know whether to high-five you or frown, because you just kissed your aunt like 500 times.
He is once again being the voice of the audience, because it's like, you kissed your aunt!
Yeah, if you were watching this play and forgot that fact, you were just very much reminded of it. Mm-hmm. And Albus, all he could really say is, "Well, I did distract her. I got the job done."
He was like, Ron is a very passionate guy.
Yeah. Yep.
He also did mention to Albus, though, that, I heard what Harry said, and how come you didn't talk to me about that? So, like I said with the last scene, you still accomplish the same stuff. They do end up having this conversation regardless. So.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Because he was right on the other side of the door, as I'm sure they were both listening, being like, "Oh man, I hope this works." Mm-hmm. So Scorpius does say, "Hey, about what your dad said." And Delphi's like, "This is great. Let's actually get to doing the job that we're here for, because I don't know how long they're going to be."
Yeah, she's focused on the mission, and the two of them were like, "Let's have an emotional moment."
So she's like, let's get on point here, guys, okay? Let's do our job. And then she immediately starts searching bookcases, because she's like, where would Hermione Granger hide something? Well, Delphi is getting to the job that they're there to do, and immediately bolts for the bookcases. Scorpius and Albus do have a real moment, and they do bond once again over their shared father drama.
Mm-hmm. Daddy issues.
Yes. And Scorpius says of Draco, he probably thinks, how did I produce this as a son? And Albus says of Harry, well, at least your father didn't probably think, how can I give my son back?
Right.
Those are really, really heavy thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think Scorpius, coming in over the top, says, look, Albus, there's a reason that we are friends. And there's a reason why we've found each other and why we've connected. Mm-hmm. And it is that kind of shared history of we feel like we're less than in our father's eyes.
Yeah.
When we're with Albus and Scorpius, that's what we see them perceive. Mm-hmm. When we're with Draco and Harry, clearly we don't perceive it. Clearly Draco cares very much for his son.
Oh, yeah.
He does have maybe some comments.
Draco and Harry are discovering what every parent discovers, which is you can't decide what your kid is going to be. They are their own person. And sometimes that's completely different from what you imagined them to be, and that's okay.
Well, in being their own person, they have their own thoughts, they have their own feelings, and they interpret things how they're going to interpret things. Mm-hmm. And I think the important thing to know is what Albus and Scorpius are feeling is real for them. Mm-hmm. And it's also important to know that that's not necessarily how Harry and Draco feel about them. I think both parents do genuinely care.
Yeah.
For their sons.
And I also think it's important that Scorpius and Albus are having this moment, because it is good for friends to talk about the things that are welled up inside emotionally. So when Delphi's just like, "You guys, we should be searching this bookcase," and they're like over there having a therapy session, don't interrupt therapy. We know the wizarding world doesn't have much of it, so. But they still do have to search the bookcase. That is a thing that they need to do.
Well, as Albus and Scorpius are having this very in-depth, deep discussion in the middle of all this intense, anxiety-driven
no
suspense.
time like the present.
As they're having all of that, Scorpius does get distracted by the bookcase and is like, hey, there's a lot of really intense books in this bookcase.
Yeah.
Albus then looks at Scorpius and is like, how to distract Scorpius from difficult emotions. take him to a library.
I love it.
And all I could think about while reading this was, Beauty and the Beast? Is Scorpius Bell?
Just gift him a library.
You know what? Don't worry about all the issues that you have. Your father, the fact that you're trapped in a castle, that a crazy beast thing is apparently courting you, but he's also super abusive and aggressive. Here's this library. Be happy.
This is a very impressive library full of a lot of books that are not allowed at Hogwarts. They're too dangerous to be at Hogwarts.
Well, let's actually get to the book titles here that Scorpius finds.
Okay.
Magic Most Evil, 15th Century Fiends, Sonnets of a Sorcerer. That one isn't even allowed at Hogwarts to begin with.
I'm pretty sure that's the one that just makes you speak in rhymes for the rest of your life.
We should get to work on a Sonnet of a Sorcerer. We should get to work on that.
I'll get on that.
Albus continues with reading some of these books, and he notes one called Shadows and Spirits. He finds one that's called The Nightshade Guide to Necromancy. He finds one called The True History of the Opal Fire.
Ooh, okay.
And lastly, The Imperious Curse and How to Abuse It. These are aggressive.
These are very much banned books.
But
Banned for a reason, though. Dark magic.
that's not all. Scorpius then continues on with My Eyes and How to See Past Them. Written by one Sybil Trelawney.
Yeah, so my question is she too dangerous for Hogwarts now that her book is in this banned bookcase?
Well, Scorpius also notes that this is odd. He goes, wait, Hermione hates divination. This is fascinating. This is a find right here.
How widely known is it that Hermione hates divination?
That's my thought. Like, what biographer dug that deep into the history?
I don't know if it was that or if, like, Rita Skeeter just interviewed all of Harry's classmates and was like, give me the dirt on the trio.
All of her teachers?
Yeah, I don't know.
And Trelawney was like, oh, she hated my class.
She couldn't open her mind.
To the greater beyond. Yes. So, they eventually come across a book, and Scorpius opens this book. It starts to speak some words. The book says, the first is the fourth, a disappointing mark. You'll find it in part, but not in park. The second is the less fair of those that walk on two legs. Grubby, hairy, a disease of the egg. And the third is both a mountain to climb and a route to take. Albus immediately picks up on this and says, it's a riddle. It's giving us a riddle.
Riddle's not done yet. There's still 2 more lines to it, too.
The book continues, a turn in the city, a glide through a lake.
So basically, they say the bookcase is a weapon. It is here to hide the time turner. In terms of the riddle, we get the answer pretty quickly. It doesn't take them too long.
Albus picks up on it very, very quick.
If you break it down, D is the disappointing mark because as a grade, a D is disappointing. It's also the 4th letter of the alphabet. The ED is in parked, but not in park, as in like the last 2 letters of the word.
So instead of ED, it would be DE.
Men being the less fair, because women are usually considered the fairer sex. Tours, though, meaning obviously like tours, TOURS of places. So put it all together, we got what?
Delphi doesn't even need to get that last clue. She's like, DE, men, tours, Dementors.
Yeah, Dementors.
Look for a book about Dementors. So eventually they come across a book that's called Dominating Dementors, A True History of Azkaban. Mm-hmm. And the book then states, I was born in a cage, but smashed it with rage. The gaunt inside me riddled me free of that which would stop me to be.
And Albus solves this very quickly.
Instantly.
I mean, Gaunt and Riddle. What's the answer here?
Voldemort.
Uh-huh.
So, at this point, the bookcase is fighting back.
Yeah, we should note, this was a really cool thing on the stage. Like, this might have been one of my favorite things, my top 3 things from the play itself. The bookcase was awesome.
Yeah, so the bookcase ends up reaching out and grabbing Delphi first. And pulls her ultimately into the bookcase. At some point later on, it actually spits her out. But now she's not Hermione anymore. Now she's her.
This is where that whole, like, getting rid of disguises, like the thief's downfall. The bookcase does the thief's downfall. Yeah, it gets rid of the Polyjuice Potion. Which, as a stage production, the logic here is we need our characters to be who they were again, because I'm sure scenes coming up, it's going to be like we need 2 people in the same place, and we can't do that.
It might get very confusing.
It would get very difficult on the stage to have that. So yeah, it erases it.
It was a really cool effect on stage. To your point earlier about, really, Hermione, Alohomora gets you into her office? Okay, but here's the thing about Hermione's Ministry of Magic. Again, you assume it's peacetime. There should be no war going on. Why really have spies? All of your real greatest enemies are either dead or in Azkaban anyway. What do you really have to fear about someone going in your office? Not much. However, you do obviously have this very important item in your office. Well, does she have it just lying on her desk? No. She does put this behind some pretty clever enchantments.
I do like putting it into the bookcase, and I do like the idea of riddles, because we've seen her say before that a lot of wizards don't have logic. They can have their power, but they don't use their brain in that way often, so it's an underdeveloped skill.
It's very similar to Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
And having to do
the potion
the logic puzzle.
Yeah. It just surprises me that there's not an extra layer of, like, it's an invisible bookcase, or it's you come across the bookcase, and if you're not Hermione, then, suddenly you have a dentist appointment you need to get to, you know? Obviously, for the purpose of the stage, it has to be a physical prop, and you can't do those things, but...
There's also a lot of layers to this. One, you have to know that a time turner even exists in the first place. That's number 1. Number 2, you still have to get into the ministry. Number 3, you have to get far enough into the ministry where it's her office.
Yeah.
Then you have to get into her office. Then you have to figure out where this time turner is in her office. Then you have to get through the enchantment. Like, there's a lot of layers to this.
There are layers, yeah. But, yeah, so Dementors was the first one. We picked the Dementors book. Now it was Voldemort, so now we need to find a Voldemort book.
This is tricky, because there's several that could apply, which is also probably part of the enchantments or tricks, I guess.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they think that the heir of Slytherin might be the answer. Spoiler alert, it is not. Albus starts to get pulled into the bookcase.
Which Delphi's already back in the bookcase. There's like the 2 of them are in the bookcase, and Scorpius is panicking because he's like, it's all on me!
I usually like books. Why are the books fighting back?
He does find the answer, though.
Yeah, he eventually scans the shelves and finds Marvolo, the Truth. And he pulls it open, and again, the book begins to speak. The book says, I am the creature you have not seen. I am you. I am me. The echo unforeseen. Sometimes in front, sometimes behind. A constant companion, for we are entwined.
Fairly easy riddle, though.
It is a fairly easy riddle. It's obviously
a shadow. Yeah.
Which they do get.
He grabs the book about the shadow, and while he's grabbing it, he falls into the bookcase too, because he hasn't transformed back into himself just yet. But it's like, still, the bookcase is trying to eat them alive or something, because he kind of pops his head out, and he's like, Sybil Trelawney! And then he, like, falls back in. Which I don't know why he said that.
I honestly am very confused by the screaming of Sybil Trelawney. As much as I often scream Sybil Trelawney in my day-to-day life, I am a little confused on why he would do it in that particular reasoning.
Yeah, I don't know. If you have an idea, let us know in the comments.
I don't know. I was a little confused by it, if I'm being honest. But he does get sucked into the bookcase, and then an explosion of pages and books happens, and they all come falling out.
All back to their original forms. Polyjuice Potion has been removed.
And they're left holding a book called Shadows and Spirits, which is one that Albus had come across earlier. And Delphi's like, yeah, that's great. Look in the center of the book. And they open up the book to find a time turner sitting in the center.
We have been successful.
And that is how that scene really ends.
Yeah. And that's the end of Act 1.
And that's the end of Act 1. So you can presume this pumps up a notch here as we get into Act 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked that scene both in the book and in the actual stage play of them trying to rifle through the riddles, the bookcase.
It's fun magic.
It's a cool little twist on defensive enchantments.
Yeah.
And once again, I think these couple of scenes that we did in this episode are really indicative of how cool and creative and innovative the actual stage production was to pull all of this off.
Yeah, because I'm sure it was written first, and then the thought process was, okay, how do we do it? And then how do we do it in a convincing way? And how do we do it so that the audience is taken by surprise and believes it to be magical and not just a practical effect?
I think it's a well-coordinated effort between lighting and stage production and stage design and choreography of the actors.
Yeah.
And being able to tie all three together so seamlessly to make everybody in the crowd believe that, oh my goodness, this Polyjuice Potion just worked in a way that I didn't think it could.
Yeah.
And then the bookcase just being a genuinely cool thing. I don't think it's anything that we go, wow, I don't know how they did that, but it was cool to see play out.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, behind the bookcase in the darkness, because again, they use the light really, really well. There are people who are maneuvering the books, opening up the holes for the actors, helping the actors pull through as quickly as possible.
Not as much mystery, but still
not
cool
mystery, but yeah, it's one of those things where the logic of how they do it is very simple, but when it's performed, they pull it off so well, and it's just such a cool thing. And I know I'm an English teacher, so I'm a sucker for books and bookcases, but I swear this was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole play.
Hey, look at that. Us being positive about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We will end on that positivity. We'll end it here, and we hope you've stuck with us through Act 1. We hope that you'll continue to be with us as we enter Act 2 of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Let us know what you guys think by commenting on our socials, which you can all find at Hogwarts of Pod, whether it's YouTube or Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. You can even leave us a comment on Spotify if you're listening to us on Spotify. Give us a review. 5-star reviews really help us get the podcast out to everybody. You can also participate in our polls that we have. That also lets us know what you guys are thinking in regards to what we're saying.
Which I'm especially interested in with this play, because I know how most people feel about the series, but I really, this being my first time reading it, I'm so curious what people think of the scenes.
We always love the poll results. It's one of our favorite things about doing this podcast, but it is particularly interesting with this Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because some of you have seen it, some of you haven't, some of you have read it, some of you haven't. Some of you are literally getting this Harry Potter information from us first. Yeah. Which is cool. So you're hearing us debating something and then forming your own opinion, which is awesome. So let us know what you guys think. And we love to read it and we'll love to debate it on our next couple of episodes. Yeah. So with that, we'll leave it here. And we will be back soon with another episode. So keep your eyes out and we'll be back. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you for listening to Hogwarts, a podcast. If you like what you've heard, please click the subscribe button on your preferred podcasting app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HogwartsAPod.